every year since then, we've organized that, what we call a chocolatada, and we bring them presents and I want to say it's a party because we bring Santa there and we have music and, musical chairs and all these games. And it's a whole bunch of fun.
You're like me, you have a heart for missions and may have already done some missions work yourself. But you also see some huge issues in the way missions are being done. Like, why are we still sending out monthly newsletters in a digital age when technology allows for instant updates in the palm of your hand? Or why are we convinced that we need to raise 2 years' support before going when all 12 disciples dropped what they were doing and walked away? Or why are we allowing denominations to decide who can and cannot go do what God is calling them to do just because of things they've done in their past? And at what point did we brand following Christ to be a life of scarcity and sacrifice when it's truly a life of abundance and privilege? These are some of the blaring questions in the missions world today. Watch Missions Live is here to reshape the way you see missions. It's time for missionaries to rise up, create a shift in perspective, a change, a revolution in the way things are done, and give you the real story, one of abundance, fulfillment, and privilege. My name is Aaron Jennings, and welcome to Watch Missions Live. Hey everybody, this is Aaron Jennings with Watch Missions Live, and today we have Melissa Alves talking about her mission trip to Peru. Introduce yourself, Melissa.
Hey, how are you, Aaron? Thanks for having me.
I'm excellent. You having a good day?
I am. It is not too bad here in New Jersey today, so I'm not complaining.
Well, that's good. It's raining in Charlotte.
It started off raining, but it's not raining anymore, so that's good.
I don't mind. I don't get sunburned. It's not as hot.
So getting back to what you just asked me, a little bit about me. Okay. Right. My name is Melissa, and I am originally from Peru, born and raised until I was 5. And then my parents brought us to America, the land of the free and the dreams and the superstition that all the people used to tell us when they would come back home was that the money would fall off the trees. Well, that wasn't the case for my parents, at least.
It's a little bit harder.
Yes, it is. But I'm so happy that my parents decided to bring us here. It's me and my brother, and we've been here all of our lives.
Very good. So with your mission trip, it's not something that you signed up for or heard about. It's something you put together, right?
Correct. So back in 2013, my mom, she had I guess you could say what a word that you'd like to say, and I say in Spanish is a godsend, in the sense that she had a calling for her, that she wanted to help the children in where she's from in Peru with the different problems that they're facing, especially poverty. So one of the things that is big in our culture is called a chocolatada, which means a hot chocolate, a day of hope is what we call it, basically. Okay. So we bring happiness to a child, and that's usually done at the end of the year, right for the Christmas time. Okay. So that's how it all began. For myself, my trip happened in 2014, and the awesome part about it was that I was able to bring my 6-year-old at that time.
Are you going back to the area where you're from?
Yes, my mom is from a part in Peru that is very hot, and very populated, and there's different sections of that city that there's a lot of poverty in different areas.
Okay. And you take presents and things down for them, don't you? Like at Christmas?
Yes. Okay. So every year since then, we've organized that, what we call a chocolatada, and we bring them presents and I I want to say it's a party because we bring Santa there and we have music and, musical chairs and all these games. And it's a whole bunch of fun.
Of course. Well, you can't have a Christmas party without, a party. You can't have
Right.
presents without having some sort of a party.
Right.
Well, that's good. How many years have you been doing that now?
So we started back in 2011.
Okay. And I always like to point it out in every episode how you get into missions, because people have this, misconception of how they have to do things. But literally, your mom's from there, so you have a tie to the place. You knew the culture there, and you had the opportunity here, and you just put something together and started doing it. Now it's something you do every year. So
Right.
you can always sign up and go with somebody else, or create your own thing and just pick up and go.
There's so many different ways, and there's not just one way of doing things.
Right.
You just got to be creative.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and we're keeping this one very short today. So let's jump right to the God story or a Godcidence or something you learned along the way that we wouldn't hear about or learn unless we were there with you.
So the experience there was so touching. There's a 2-part story there. The time that I was there when I brought my child, only because we made a special visit to a young, she was a year older than my son at the time. Her name was Lucima, and she had leukemia. So we made she had, you know how leukemia is. It's a horrible it's cancer, and it's horrible, and there's no cure for it. So at that time, of course, my son didn't understand. He was 6 years old, but to be able to bring happiness to that child and her family, because the burden of money that comes into play when somebody is ill like that. So we had raised some funds to lessen that burden for that family, and to bring joy to that little girl's face was the most amazing feeling. And then my son being able to play with her and her siblings in the backyard, and these homes, they're so, oh my gosh, it's just like amazing. These homes are made from bamboos. I hope I'm saying it right. Like like the big canes of bamboo and mud. Okay,
Mud houses.
And like outside, they're out. It's in an outhouse.
Yeah, their outhouse. Yeah,
their outhouse. My son had to go and use the outhouse, and then the farm animals that are just. It was just a humbling experience.
Yeah.
And for me to be able to teach my son that at such an early age, and I would love to have my other son now experience it as well.
Yeah. And it sounds like you'll have plenty of more years to do it. Just keep doing it.
Oh, yes, definitely.
That's nice. You just make up your own thing, and you can just keep doing it as much as you want.
Right.
Well, and something I'm sure a lot of us take for granted here is how easy it is for people to help financially if something happens here. Whereas countries like that, they don't have that opportunity like we do.
They don't have the resources.
Right. Like here, people jump in and help people when they're in trouble and things like that. But there's those countries like that. We don't even think about it. They don't have that option. There's nobody around them that can share.
Right.
And they can't just GoFundMe online and pull up what they need, and then send it to a local bank. It's not that easy.
Right.
So the fact that you had a passion and a tie to the area, and you turned that into a way that you could serve others is awesome.
Thank you. And it's just a blessing, because the more that every year that we go to different areas in the city, like a couple of years ago, I remember we were able to help families that were affected by the destruction of the water that came into the town. And those children are all sick because of that now, so it's beautiful to know that we can bring hope, even if it's for one day, to a child.
Yep. And don't ever underestimate that one day either.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
For anybody who's thinking about doing anything, I don't care if it's for half a day. Go do it, because it may be the only shred of hope that that person gets ever. And for you, it may seem like, oh, it's not worth it just for a couple hours. It's worth it. We actually, when we were living in Thailand, we went to visit the little Thai boy that we've been sponsoring through Compassion International. He was living with his grandma at the time. And we flew 2 planes from South Thailand all the way to North Thailand, stayed the night, had to drive like 2 or 3 hours out in the middle of nowhere to get to where he's at. And they only let you stay for 1 day. You can't stay overnight, you can't, or anything like that. So you have to be there with one of the sponsors. We drove all the way out there, hung out with him for just a few hours, and then we had to start driving back. Well, while we were there, he kind of, he was 6 years old or 7. He got tired of playing with us and got bored. So he went off, and we were sitting with his grandma and the translator and stuff. And they were going back and forth, and I was telling my story, and she goes, the translator said she wants you to lead her to Christ. And I was like, holy crap, we're here for like 2 hours. It's like we come in, they've never met us before, we're there for 2 hours, and then we're on our way back out. And it's like that 2 hours in her life just changed eternity.
Right. It's amazing. It truly is amazing. So it could be 5 minutes, and it can make a big difference.
Yeah, it's huge. So never underestimate the amount of time. Just do something.
That's right.
Well, we are keeping this one really short because you have places to be today, and we're a part of Watch Missions Live. So people are going to get to know you and hear more later on other episodes. But we wanted to get in a quick story. And thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for your time, Melissa.
Thank you, Aaron. I look forward to more.
Yep. Likewise. We'll catch everybody on the next episodes. Hey, thank you for your time. Please remember to rate and subscribe. After being a full-time missionary, I got tired of people looking at me like it must be really hard to do what you do. And they'd say things like, I'd love to be able to do something like that, but insert excuse. When the real reason was because they saw what we were doing as a sacrifice. That to do missions work, they would have to give up everything. That quite honestly was forcing them to do things they didn't like, for people they couldn't stand, so they could afford things that they didn't need. The truth is, as full-time missionaries, it was one of the few times in my life when I was truly fulfilled. It was the closest to God I'd ever been. Debt-free, not stressed, and living the life of an adventure I'd always wanted. If you too believe that it's time for a change, then head over to watchmissionslive.com and join the revolution.